You're listening to Convenience Matters, brought to you by NACS. We'll talk about what we see at stores and what the future may hold for our industry.
If you're of a certain age, you remember the Milk Carton Kids campaign, which is all about helping to find missing kids. Well, since then, technology has played a massive role in how that is the new way of doing it, and it has replaced the milk carton and has been much more effective. Today, we're going to talk about how technology and you can help find missing kids. Joining us for our conversation today is Gavin Portnoy. He is with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, otherwise known as NCMEC. So thanks for joining us today, Gavin.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks so much for having me. Really excited to talk about this.
So you guys are literally down the street from us, but I think anybody listening is like, well, that really doesn't make much context. So I'll tell you why we're talking, or tell the listener why we're talking. NACS has worked in looking at how can we play a positive role in addressing human trafficking for a number of years now. We have different parts of association or different companies doing different things. QT, Quick Trip, is working with a National Safe Place network. There's others are working with CSAT, which is Convenience Stores Against Trafficking. There's the Blue campaign with the government. There's Truckers Against Trafficking, and there's NCMEC. And we feel that the convenience store's role is several-fold in what we can do to address human trafficking and missing kids. One is convenience stores are in every community and very visible to help identify how to address the problem. Second thing is convenience stores tend to be open longer hours of operation than other places. So it allows somebody who needs attention to have attention at any hour of the day. So that there's an awful lot of reasons that NACS has talked to these groups, including NCMEC, over the last few years. But it's much better if Gavin can tell the story of NCMEC. So if you can kind of just set up what NCMEC does and where it fits into that convenience store space.
Yeah, so again, really thankful to have you guys shining a hot spotlight on the work that we're doing and the other organizations as well. Really great work happening there across the board. When you really boil down NCMEC to what we do, we are the nation's largest and most influential child protection org. We're really known for our leading the fight to protect kids. We create vital resources for them and the folks who keep them safe. Our underlying belief across the board is that every child deserves a safe childhood. The reality is, though, there's no shortage of people that want to do bad things to kids. So that is a very big thing that we're very well aware of. And the other reality is that a lot of children are running away from bad situations in some cases. And that's really where we start to see the intersection with convenience stores. Last year, we had more than 28,000 missing kids go missing, nearly 29,000. About 90% of those kids came home safely because of the assistance of the public and organizations like the National Center, law enforcement, so on and so forth. But the overwhelming majority of those kids ran away or in some cases were taken from a nefarious person. It could have been a family member. We could spend 3 pods talking about how kids go missing. But the reality is these kids come home because people recognize them or because the public puts pressure on the child to return home. And, you know, at NCMEC, we try to find any and every way to get that kid's face out to the public. So whether it be working with social media companies, getting it out there on the news, or in the cases of convenience stores, getting that kid in front of the pump or in front of a counter. So what we do now currently with convenience stores is we have a fantastic relationship with Gas Station TV. They have covered more than 700 missing cases. They've actually shared them on their pumps, and more than 500 of those kids have come home, in large part due to somebody seeing that kid's photo and calling in and making sure that child came home safely.
And the connection between missing kids and human trafficking is that there's a certain very small window where somebody runs away or somebody is missing, where they're they still may be okay, but the traffickers get involved pretty quickly. And the idea is, how quickly can you find somebody missing? Because once they get ensnared into some of these nefarious groups, it becomes really difficult to extract them. So speed is essential in a lot of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, getting that child's face out to where they're missing from is paramount. We can talk a little bit more about the milk carton and why that was such an effective campaign. But at the end of the day, you don't want to blanket the country with a kid that went missing from New Jersey. You don't want that picture necessarily in California unless you have a reason to believe that child is there. Doing it quickly, efficiently, and making sure it's in front of those right eyes is absolutely paramount.
So the milk carton, we started out by talking about that, and that created great awareness. It possibly wasn't as effective as some of today's technologies, because it takes time to print milk cartons, it distribute all those other things, and they're very static. And when we had a meeting with a fuller group of folks who were really focused on missing kids and making sure kids are safe, you talked about the program with QR codes and how that is really a game changer. And people, first off, are very accustomed to QR codes. I think coming out of the pandemic, it's how you look at menus, it's how you look at all kinds of things. And that's very focused on where you are and what you do. But the QR codes that you have, it's a singular code, right? That somebody can find, whether it's on a luggage tag or on a website or on a gas pump or on any sort of poster. And it is much more effective in saying, this is what we want you to look for in this space. Can you talk about how that program began and how it's evolved to what it is now?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, the QR code program really was born out of the milk carton. I mean, I would take you back in time real quick on that. It's really what we're synonymous with. If you even search milk carton missing kids, come up, top of the search. The reality is the campaign only lasted for a couple of months. Very few people know that. It was really only for a couple of months. And the reason it went away so quickly was it scared the heck out of children. And that conversation in the early 80s between families and their kids, it was very difficult at the time. It was extremely effective, though. And the thought behind it was, well, hey, we send milk to geo-specific areas. So the printing was local, and where it went to was obviously very, very targeted to where the milk was going. And it had a shelf life. So we knew that, the kids, if they were recovered, their face wasn't out there forever. Again, potentially re-exploiting them or so on and so forth. And it just was incredibly effective at finding kids, but it was kind of scary for people to talk about. So over the years, there's been a couple of attempts to reinvigorate that program or that idea, and it really never got off the ground. We had a couple of different partners carry those cases and really try to help with the mission. But again, it had a shelf life, and I'll keep kind of referring to that. There was a constant shelf life. So I will say QR codes are the only thing that I enjoy that came out of the pandemic. That and DoorDash, I think, were the only two real good takeaways there. But we started thinking about how we could get these missing child posters into the public's hands. Now, we are already working with GSTV at this point and doing very localized pushes of missing children. Again, kids missing, I'll use the New Jersey, California example again. If we believe a child is missing in New Jersey, we are sending that down to 50-mile radius of where we believe that child was missing. We were sending that video or that image of that child. But we started thinking, like, that was a very manual process. Can we change the search for missing children feature on the website to essentially be the milk carton distributor? And the team, they hunkered down on it. And I mean, we all go to websites where it's like, know your location, yes or no, right? And we're like, well, we can do that to help find kids, right? So the idea became, let's create a QR code that's the same wherever you are in the world. Let's get that out to the public and wherever people are. Like you said, it could be on a luggage tag. It could be on the back of a phone. We have them on T-shirts now. It could be on a flyer in a store. It could be on a pump, you name it, and allow people to scan it. And what it does is if a person scans it, it takes you to where a child went missing. So it takes you geographically within a 50-mile radius of where a child went missing. It will bring up that child's face. So it's just incredibly cool, a very easy way for us to make sure that the public is seeing kids that are missing in their area or where we believe those children may be. It doesn't have a shelf life again, and it's real time. So if a child gets recovered right now, law enforcement calls NCMEC and says that child has been recovered. We can remove it, and if you scan it right the second, you'll have a real time view of kids that are missing in your area.
The other thing about QR codes, I think, is really important. A lot of people put up posters. There's an opportunity, and whether it's a store, break room, or wherever it is, put up a poster and here's some information we want you to know. However, when you have a QR code, somebody's accessing that and you have immediate feedback on the number of people that have taken an action. So it's not like a static piece of paper where you can kind of say, well, I'm pretty sure it's effective. You have a really good sense of, and I imagine there's some testing that you've done with messages, sizes, shapes, things like that, and get a sense of this is the most effective way to get people to pay attention to this because this is how they're accessing the information.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a frictionless, non-scary way for us to engage the public. So again, you're getting real-time information wherever you are. If you do have the ability to make a tip, you can do it from right there within the webpage, which is just phenomenal. It's obviously mobile friendly, so we're able to engage very quickly with that child's case, I should say, and we're able to make it incredibly dynamic. If for whatever reason also we decided that there was another campaign of utmost importance that we need to let people know within an area, we could create a dynamic QR code and make it available to a certain geographical region and use it to help bring kids home within that area or raise awareness about another issue that could be affecting children.
So I had started out in the beginning saying convenience stores are a really nice match for this because they're local, they're in every community, and they're open. That's reason enough alone. But we've also done message testing, and we've asked consumers, what issues do you most care about in potential employees, thought leaders in the community, et cetera. And the message that you are working to address a societal issue like human trafficking, and you are able to help kids who need help, or I believe your tagline is every child deserves a safe childhood. It's a real easy cause to want to support. And so we have heard from retailers who are working with any number of groups to address how kids have a safe childhood. Their employees get behind it. Their customers may say, hey, I went in the store, I saw that you care about this, I care about this. So therefore, if we both care about this, we care about each other. And so there's some real opportunities, I think, for convenience stores to do nothing different than they always do, care about the community, but also it's a way to convey to potential employees and the customers that there's something special about this place and might want to frequent it a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that the partners that have come on and help us with our mission one way or another, we're incredibly grateful to them, but we have seen a great, I know this isn't about that, but we have seen a great halo effect happen for those groups, an affinity for those brands, for people that shop in those establishments. If they have an affinity for the cause, they're obviously going to have an affinity for an organization that has the same. You hit on something else that I just want to go back to real quick. And, a lot of people say, oh, it's not happening in my community. And, trafficking can't possibly happen here. And I will tell you, it's happening in literally every community here in the United States. So there's not a single facet of the country or even the world where this issue isn't happening in your backyard. So to have the support or the interest from convenience stores at a community, boots on the ground level really does make a difference in how we're protecting these children.
When I was at a presentation where somebody was talking about teens and preteens and said, does anybody have one in their family or had one in their family? Just starting the conversation, everybody's hand goes up. It's like, did they have phones? Every hand's up. Did they have a feeling of self-confidence, some challenges around self-confidence and wanting to feel more like they belonged? Every hand goes up again. And it's like, well, that's how it begins. That's how people prey on kids. We've all been that age where you look to somebody that has confidence when you may not have confidence. And unfortunately, the bad guys have confidence or express confidence. And that's how it happens in every neighborhood. It's not based on demographics or geography. It is based on just how we're wired.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we talked about this in our bigger group conversation, but the people are still kind of afraid of the white van scenario. Like, is the white van going to come and try to steal my kid? And the reality is the white van is now in our pockets. And that's how children are being enticed. So, an overwhelming majority of those children, of those 28,000 cases that I mentioned, the ones that ran away or were taken into a different situation did so because of that device. What we often say is the white van's now in your pocket, and that really, really is the truth these days.
I had mentioned retailers can play a role. Also within our industry, we talked about gas station TV, otherwise known as GSTV. There's some folks with GSTV. Every time I see them at a NACS event, they talk as much about NCMEC as they do about GSTV. They are absolutely passionate advocates for supporting you on this issue. How can anybody in our industry, whether it's a retailer or a supplier like GSTV, get engaged with you and see how they can make a difference?
Yeah. So, the easiest way is to just go to our website and try to contact us via there. We've got a media line there, media@ncmec.org. You can reach us that way. We also have a partner page on our site where if you're interested in becoming a partner, you can go there and you can check that out. That URL is ncmec.org. But there really is no limit to how a company could get involved with how they support us. So we have groups that kind of from a 30,000 foot view, you might not think they have anything to do with NCMEC, but you're talking retailers. We have a program called Code Atom, which you see it on the front of stores when you go in. There's no National Center branding on it whatsoever. But what Code Atom is it's a protocol that retailers can put into motion if a child goes missing in their store. And it's a training program that they give their employees. It can all be done via computer. It really doesn't take much time at all. And it walks them through a very simple process of what to do, how to lock down a store, and create awareness if a child goes missing in their establishment. It also, to what we were talking about before, building trust with the community, it absolutely builds trust with that community. So we have partners that do that. We have other partners that kind of carry exactly what we're talking about here, Jeff, the QR code. Hey, search for missing kids in your area. We also have others that take up the mantle and say, talk to your kids about internet safety. And it could be as simple as a QR code. It could be a placard. It could be even employee awareness. And, you also mentioned that NCMEC has I will start by saying everything we offer is for free here at this organization. So we offer some free trainings online. We have some that are very specific to what we're talking about here, child sex trafficking specifically. We have a one-on-one course that can teach employers and employees the signs to be aware of, and how to react to when you may encounter these situations. We also have online safety trainings. We've got, if it has to do with child safety, I guarantee you we have it on our website. And again, it's free to the public and to groups. And then, lastly, not making this a donation call, but we are a nonprofit and we do have other organizations that simply just, they'll either engage with the community and help us raise funds to come back to the organization, or some organizations do it at an employee level. The employees get behind it, or even the stores themselves, they take up the mantle and they choose NCMEC as a nonprofit of choice. But again, there really is, it doesn't matter if it's as simple as saying, care about the kids in your community, talk about child safety, all the way down the line of everything else I just talked about.
It's really amazing to hear some of the stories that we've heard at NACS from retailers and from some of the groups that we are working with. The positive stories that have permanently changed someone's life for the better. It is really amazing. The downside is there's so many more that we need to tell because there's so much more work that needs to be done. Good news for our channel is kids tend to be kids, young adults, go to convenience stores more than they go to any other channel. If I'm thinking about when I was younger, I didn't go to the grocery store and buy cabbage or lettuce. I went to the convenience store and I bought something frozen. And so there's an opportunity here, if you're not engaged with NCMEC or any of these other groups, to really start to address an issue that is not going away and is unfortunately, as technology solutions are addressing ways to help protect kids, unfortunately, the technology is also being enabled by the bad guys. So there's always more work to be done. Please feel free to reach out to Gavin or to me for how you can get involved and how you can make a difference. And Gavin, I'll give you last word. What you've been at NCMEC for 15 years now. What do you hear from people when you talk about the importance of this issue?
Once they hear about the breadth and scope of what is happening in their backyard, everyone asks, and we've hit on this a couple ways here, how do I get involved? What can I do? And I always say what our co-founder, John Walsh, co-host of America's Most Wanted, says at the end of every episode, since episode 1, they're on like 1900 now. He ends every episode by saying, you can make a difference. And it really, I truly leave everyone with that. You can make a difference in the children in your life. It doesn't matter if you are a parent or a caregiver, you know somebody who has a kid, and you can truly make a difference. So talk to them about being safe online. Talk to them about how to be safe in their communities. If you feel so moved, share the QR code with your establishment. Do whatever it is that you think, based on what I've shared here today, whatever it is that you can do to help make sure that every child has a safe childhood.
Well, thank you, Gavin, for making a difference, and for your entire team for making a difference, because I'm not going to repeat that. It makes a difference. So thanks again for joining us today.
No, thank you, Jeff. And again, thank you and all that NACS is doing to help raise awareness and shine a hot spotlight on this really, really important issue.
And thank you all for listening to Convenience Matters.
Convenience Matters is brought to you by NACS and produced in partnership with Human Factor. For more information, visit convenience.org.